Hello and welcome. I'm an AI expert with years of experience in modern hospitality, and it's my pleasure to welcome all of you from Europe Hotel School to this online learning journey. We're here to support your professional growth, so let's dive into a topic that is absolutely critical for running a successful hotel.
You know, this quote right here, it's really the heart of everything we're going to talk about. It's not just a nice idea. It represents a huge shift in thinking. So often, training gets labeled a discretionary expense. That's just business speak for optional. But we're going to flip that script and start treating training for what it truly is, a powerful investment that drives real growth.
Okay, so here's the classic challenge every hotel manager wrestles with, right? You have to invest in your people. They are, without a doubt, your most valuable asset. But at the same time, you've got to keep a tight grip on costs. It's a tricky balancing act, and honestly, getting it right all starts with having the right mindset from the very beginning.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. It shows the two very different paths you can take. Over on the left, you've got the expense mindset. This is purely reactive. When things get tough, what's the first thing to go? The training budget. The whole goal is just to spend less money. But now look at the right. The investment mindset is proactive. It sees training as absolutely essential for hitting the hotel's biggest goals, things like amazing guest satisfaction and, of course, profitability. The focus completely shifts from minimizing cost to maximizing value.
So, if we're going to really manage a budget effectively and champion that investment mindset, we first have to understand what a training budget is actually made of. And I'll tell you, it's not always just the obvious stuff. There are some hidden parts we need to account for if we're going to make smart decisions.
All right, let's start with the easy part, direct costs. These are the things you can literally point to on a receipt or an invoice. Think about the fee you pay for an expert trainer, or the subscription for that new e-learning platform, or even just the cost of renting a room for a workshop. These are the tangible, upfront expenses that are pretty straightforward.
But this is where things get a little trickier. Indirect costs are just as real, but they are so often forgotten. Think about it. When your front desk team is in a training session, they aren't helping guests. That time has a value, a real cost. Same goes for any disruption to your normal operations. You absolutely have to acknowledge these indirect costs to see the full financial picture.
Okay, so we understand all the costs involved, both direct and indirect. Now for the big strategic question. Where do we actually put the money? How do we make sure that every single dollar, pound, or euro we spend is going to have the biggest possible impact?
This four-step process right here is your roadmap. It's simple, but it's powerful. First, make sure any training you do directly supports the hotel's main goals. Second, put your money where it's going to make the biggest splash. Third, find that perfect balance between top-notch quality and being cost-effective. And last but not least, a budget isn't something you just set and forget. You have to keep an eye on it and be ready to adapt.
Let's dig into that second step for a second, prioritization. Look, every department is going to say they need training, but you can't fund it all at once. So where do you start? You focus on the high-impact stuff. For example, if there's a new safety regulation, that compliance training is a no-brainer. You have to do it. Or maybe your restaurant sales are a little flat. Well, training your team on suggestive selling could give you a fast, measurable boost to the bottom line. That's high impact.
This is so important to understand. Being efficient is all about getting the most bang for your buck. Just cutting costs often means you're just being cheap. A poorly designed training program might save you a little cash this month, but believe me, it will cost you way more down the road in bad service, unhappy staff, and high turnover.
So, the big question is, how do we get both quality and efficiency? Well, technology is a total game changer here. Yeah, a new e-learning system has an upfront cost, but just think about the savings over time. You don't have to keep running the same in-person session over and over. And better yet, it's available 24/7. Your night team can get the exact same quality training as the day team whenever it works for them.
And of course, if we're going to go around calling training an investment, then we have to be able to prove we're getting something back. That's where measuring the return on investment, or ROI, is absolutely essential. It's how we justify what we're spending and prove that our development programs are strategically vital.
And this chart shows you exactly what that return looks like in the real world. When you make smart investments in your people, you see these incredible, tangible results. Guest satisfaction scores start climbing. Your best employees stick around longer, which saves you a fortune in hiring costs. And all those key performance metrics, from revenue to sales, they all start trending in the right direction.
When it comes right down to it, what we're talking about is so much bigger than just managing a budget. This is about building a real, sustainable, strategic advantage.
Managing your training finances effectively is a direct investment in the long-term health and strength of your entire hotel. And the long-term benefits? They're huge. Your hotel gets a serious edge in a really competitive market. Your whole organization becomes more resilient, better able to handle whatever comes its way. You create this amazing culture where people are always learning and making an impact. And all of that leads to the one thing every business wants: stronger financial performance.
So as you continue on your path and move into leadership roles, I want to leave you with this question. The next time you're in a position to influence a budget, how are you going to champion value over just cutting costs? How will you be the one to make the case that investing in people isn't an expense to be slashed, but the single most powerful way to drive success?